Good morning. It's Monday again, and so here I am. I'm out on my balcony this morning because it's beautiful. It does mean we might need to mess with a little bit with the traffic noise, but I'm going to talk loud, so hopefully you can all hear me. There is a button that you can get closed captioning if you need to, so just press that little CC at the bottom of your screen or wherever it is so that you can hear me. I've got lots to talk about today, so I wanted to talk about the reasons why I love my rigid heddles. So I've got 4 reasons. I've written them down just in case I forget them. If I can think of a 5th, because that sounds better, 5 reasons to love your rigid heddle. But we'll start with 4 reasons why I love rigid heddle looms. So the first one is the size of them. You can get anywhere from about a 10-inch all the way up to a 48-inch rigid heddle loom, which I think is fantastic. I have a 20-inch right here that I can fold up and put in a suitcase and take out and open up and weave on. I have a 30-inch that also folds up. I have a 32-inch and I have a 48-inch. I love all my rigid heddle looms. I use my 48-inch the least and my 32-inch the most, but I very rarely actually weave the full width of my 32-inch. But I love having the versatility of being able to do wider or narrower. I use my 20-inch when I'm doing skinny projects. I don't do a lot of skinny projects, so my 20-inch doesn't get used as much. So size, I love the size. Ease of warping. I find my rigid heddles so easy to warp. It's quite a challenge to warp a floor loom, or even my table loom I find can be quite challenging to warp. But with a direct warp on your rigid heddle, I can have my loom warped. Well, this warp took me less than half an hour from winding or from starting to being ready to tie on to the front beam. So it's so easy to warp. And if you don't have the space to direct warp, you can use a warping board and do hybrid warping, so you don't even need a lot of space. The next reason that I love my rigid heddle is the range of patterning. So on here, I'll give you a close-up of this, but on here I've got some leno lace, but you can also do pickup sticks. So I've got a couple of pickup stick patterns here as well. That one uses pickup sticks and string heddles. This one's got 4 pickup sticks going on in there. So pickup sticks, super easy to insert and use, and then you can change up your patterning as much as you want. And color and weave as well, super simple, plain weave. If you don't want to get into the pickup sticks or the finger manipulation or string heddles, you can do plain weave, which is also really cool. So these are 2 color and weave projects. Shawl adjusted here. It's a little chilly out here this morning. All right, the 4th thing that I love about my rigid heddle looms is the portability. So I can take my loom to where the people are, or I can take my loom to where the people aren't. In my home, I often move my loom to the sun. So as the sun moves across the apartment, my loom moves across the apartment because I love the sun and I love the heat. The other thing, I guess this would be number 5, the thing I love about the rigid heddles is that it's easy enough to use that if you get bored quickly, warping 2 towels isn't a big deal. Whereas on my floor loom, I would never dream of warping 2 tea towels. But, you know, when you see tea towel runs, they're like 10 yards or 20 yards, sometimes even more, and I would be totally bored with that. So I love that I can put 2 tea towels on here, be done in 2 days, and be on to the next project, because I do get bored with projects quite easily. So that's why I love my rigid heddle loom. Something else that you saw me working on this weekend is some pillows, because I had some scarves that I wasn't really loving, and I have this piece. So you've been seeing me weave up this piece last week, and I love how it turned out. But the wooliness of it didn't felt those floats in as well as I had hoped. Now I could go back and I could actually hand felt it, and I may yet do that, but I might also turn it into a pillow. So this is a scarf that I wasn't truly in love with. I liked it well enough, but I wasn't in love with it, so I turned it into an envelope pillowcase. So this is what it looks like on the inside. I used my serger, but you can absolutely sew it without using a serger, and then you can just turn it right side out. I've actually got a YouTube video that shows you how to do these envelope pillows, and I'll put that link in the description. So there's the pillow turned right side out. And for those of you that are afraid to cut your weaving and you think that it's just going to fall apart, this is my raw edge right here. I haven't done anything to it. It's just been cut and left. I did that when I was cutting off the extra from this pillow. Look at this. You know, it is starting to unravel, but really not that much. And who shakes their stuff that hard when they're sewing anyways, right? So you can cut it and set it aside and come back to it and sew it later. You can cut it, and if you're worried, you can take it straight to the sewing machine. But I literally treat this just like I would any other fabric that I got from the fabric store. And I just cut it and sew it. I don't do any prep work ahead of time. I don't sew on either side of where I'm gonna cut. I just cut it and then sew it as I would any other piece of fabric. And you know, if you've wet finished your fabric, it's gonna be stable. Something like this. So when I cut this for my pillow, I will mark where I'll cut because I will sew so that those floats stay in place. And I'm sewing them so they stay in place so that when I do the seams, I don't have to worry about these bits flying around and that they're fully contained, but not because I'm afraid it's all gonna come unraveled. So there, 5 reasons to love your rigid heddle. I got the 5th one in there. And some things to do with scarves that you don't love or you just have too many, and a little bit of extra security about sewing. So I hope you enjoy the video this morning. If you do like it, comment and share it. Share it to groups that you think might be interested in it. Share it to friends who are weavers. All those things help me. So I would appreciate if you could do that. Have a lovely Monday. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you back here again next week.